Breaking right now, Meghan Markle has been forced to leave the Invictus Games, axed by Prince Harry after another PR disaster. The reasons behind this are extraordinary. It shows just how much tension has been created by this bizarre PR display that we have seen over the past 4 days. But hilariously, Harry gave Meghan, his wife, quite a symbolic send-off by encouraging herself to throw her down a snow slope. Watch.
Handles there.
No.
Okay, let me know when we clear on 4.
And you just keep your body weight back?
Yeah, body weight back, bum up, and go. 3, 2.
No, I really don't want to do it.
Yeah,
No,
okay.
come on, you'll be absolutely fine.
It's okay.
You'll be fine.
Oh my
You'll be
God.
fine.
Yeah.
3, 2, 1, go.
Go.
We go.
Keep your feet up.
Feet up, feet up, feet up.
Royal YouTube sensation P-Dina is with me. P-Dina, that was odd. Harry was laughing demonically. It was like, get this woman down this sled and out of these Invictus Games because she's turned them into a laughingstock internationally.
Absolutely. It really was one of those moments where you watch her going down the hill and you're like, yes, be gone with you. Go, go. And there was something gratifying about seeing that because a lot of people did not want her to be there. And to see that happen in a fun way, but also I think it was a release for Harry as well to see her go down the hill and to kind of be in charge for a moment because usually he's not the one in charge. He's always usually the one being, pushed around, told what to do. And here he had a moment where he could, lightheartedly say, okay, go. Like he wasn't like he was caring and, oh, honey, it's going to be okay. Oh, like really comforting her. But it was like it was a joke. It was fun. Okay, go, and laughing. I thought it was hilarious.
Dan Wooten and P-Dina just exposed the shocking behind-the-scenes chaos that led to Meghan's removal. Was this a long overdue reckoning, or is Meghan once again playing the victim card behind the scenes? Now let's start with the most damning part of this story. Meghan was allegedly asked to leave. P-Dina confirms that there were serious issues behind the scenes and guess what? The sponsors, the people funding this event, didn't want Meghan there. Think about that. This is the woman who built her entire brand on being a philanthropist and advocate for veterans. But instead of being welcomed, she was seen as a problem. Now let's ask the real questions. What did Meghan do that made sponsors want her gone? Why was her departure so sudden and unplanned? And why does this keep happening wherever Meghan goes?
P-Dina, can we just be honest about this, though? She has been axed. This was not the plan. She was absolutely loving all of the attention, but the problem is no one wanted her there.
Yeah, no one wanted her there. Reports were coming out even before the games that they did not want her there because usually the attention is taken away from, the veterans. And Meghan is there to soak up the limelight. There was a lot of tension from what I heard behind the scenes that it would have been best had Harry just kept her at home. And, Megan's going to do what she's going to do. She used it for her moment, for her new social media comeback. And that's what it is about for her. And people can see through that. I mean, of course, people are going to be cordial. They're going to be, very nice in front of her. But there is a lot behind the scenes that you don't see and hear about. And that is what I heard about her being told to leave. There were issues with the sponsors and that they did not want her there. There was a big blow up around it. And eventually she just ended up leaving. And I think because it was so abrupt, it wasn't planned. Because if you look at the fact that she did give a speech prior to the games at the opening ceremony, It doesn't make sense that you would just leave and not say goodbye or say, tomorrow's my last day, because that's the more appropriate thing to do, to let people know. But she didn't. And it was just all of a sudden she's leaving, she's gone. And, the PR spin was that, this was always planned. I would beg to differ that it was not planned, and that something around the sponsors, the things that I heard was the actual truth, that no, things had to change. They wanted her gone.
There was absolutely no way this was planned, P-Dina, because Meghan had planned to use this event as the big launch of her Instagram account, her new social media personality. And when she was giving that speech on stage, she never said, oh, I'm just here for a few days, then I'm going back to see the kids and you're going to get the husband for the rest of the time. So it just didn't work. And this is the problem at the moment. Everything she touches turns toxic. And we had the briefing to the Daily Mail from the Invictus insiders saying she's destroying this. The contestants are being overshadowed. It's far too woke. And the problem is that Harry, and I did always say this, and I'm no fan of Prince Harry, but I did always say, P-Dina, the one legacy he had was the Invictus Games. It was pretty much the only thing in his life that he had made a success. And now he is letting his wife, who he can't even stand. I mean, we see his face when he thinks the cameras aren't on. We hear about the fights that they have behind the scenes, but he's still allowed Meghan to turn this into the Markle show. It shows such terrible judgment on his part.
This isn't the first time Meghan has turned a major event into a PR disaster. Just look at how she hijacked the Queen's funeral, turned her UK trip into a publicity stunt, and made the coronation all about herself, even when she didn't show up. Folks, this is a pattern. Everywhere Meghan goes, the focus shifts from the actual cause to her. And this time, the Invictus sponsors weren't having it. Now, if Meghan being told to leave wasn't crazy enough, here's where things get really bizarre. Prince Harry, a man who has spent the past few years defending Meghan, shielding her, practically worshipping the ground she walks on, decides to send her down a snow slope in front of cameras. Now, if you watch this clip closely, Meghan does not want to do this. She says, "No, I really don't want to." And Harry? He just laughs and tells her to go. Folks, tell me, does that look like a husband who is madly in love with his wife? Or does that look like a man who is relieved to finally send her away? Because to me, that was a goodbye and good riddance moment if I've ever seen one.
Absolutely. And you have to look at everything that has happened to Harry up to now. It's not just the Invictus Games. It's the things with his family, his friends, his the things around the Royal Foundation, his connections to his country. He has lost so much. And you can't tell me that Meghan coming in and now overtaking everything around Invictus is going to put Harry in a good space. It's going to break him. This is the last straw, because this is, like you said, the one thing that he had. And now Meghan is making it about her. And, he's seeing other people talk about it behind the scenes, and this must be weighing heavily on him. It is so sad, because if you're a man, you're not going to allow yourself to be taken over by a woman with everything. I mean, you look at every single thing. Even these children cannot even be in his country, around his family. There is no ownership that Harry has around his own life. This was the one thing. This is the breaking point. And I think this is why you saw so much PDA on Meghan's part, because she was trying to overtake the way he's feeling. And the one thing I noticed around also the PDA, not once did Harry ever initiate any of the PDA. It was always initiated by Meghan. That right there is a sign that shows you it was not, reciprocated. This was one-sided. And Harry is letting it show. He probably doesn't want it to show, but, his feelings are his feelings. He's not trying to cover up like Meghan is. So he's going to just do the natural thing. And the natural thing we can see is that he really isn't happy. This is his breaking point, I believe.
The crazy thing is, though, P-Dina, given they are so aware of how the cameras are on them at virtually every moment, they can only play the game for so long, especially Harry. But we also saw those moments when Meghan was literally yelling at him when there was the possibility of the cameras being on. So you can only imagine what it's like when they are in private.
Yeah, so, there's a way you can contain it a little bit, but when no one's watching, when you are completely secluded, it is a fury that I can only imagine. Because we have to remember, there are people that have been traumatized by this woman and the way she has managed to work with her past employees that have been completely broken, stressed. I mean, this woman knows how to do some harm. And we can see that, yeah, behind the scenes, it is explosive. This is a way they try to contain it. But, at some point, she always breaks. I think there was a moment when even when she was looking at someone, not knowing the cameras were on her, she had like this stare in her eye. And then when she looked up, she was like immediately started smiling because she knew she let her face drop. And I can imagine that there's this constant trying to be on. And at some moment, your feelings overtake you and the real you ends up coming out. That right there it was just a peek into who she is that was very enlightening to see the walls fall.
Now let's not get ahead of ourselves. I'm not saying Harry is completely done with Meghan yet, but this clip shows us something big. Harry is changing. For the first time, Harry seemed like he wasn't bending over backward to comfort Meghan. For once, he wasn't acting like her personal emotional support dog. So what's happening here? Is Harry finally waking up to Meghan's toxicity? Is the honeymoon phase over? Or is this just another PR stunt gone wrong? One thing is clear. This was not a happy couple moment. Let's get into why Meghan was even at the Invictus Games in the first place. Because if you ask me, she had zero business being there. This event is supposed to be about veterans, about service, about honoring those who have sacrificed for their countries. But what did Meghan do? She made it about her. Everywhere she went, she posed for staged Instagram-style photos. She made emotional, exaggerated gestures like she was the main character. She clung to Harry like a desperate influencer trying to hold onto her A-list status. And guess what? People saw through it.
And the performance, P-Dina, on the moments when they know they're in the spotlight, the performance is so over the top that actually it has the opposite effect of what they believe it does. So I want to show you what happened when Harry was sort of making a joke on stage about Meghan singing, and just look at her over the top responses.
Now she's going to sing. Guys, thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you.
And then...
Are you going to sing?
No, I'm not singing.
I mean, it's so disingenuous. Michael Bublé says to her, "Oh, are you going to sing?" "No, I'm not singing." I mean, it's really difficult to watch.
It's like fingernails going down a chalkboard. It's like, woman, calm down. I mean, she's like this giddy teenager. And I think she's so consumed with how people see her. She's overcompensating. And it does the opposite effect. It just makes her look like a joke. It makes her seem so animated and not real. And people can feed into that. People see it. I mean, you just look at what the president said about this woman on a world stage. You must be inside your head just pulling your hair out. I can't imagine having to put that kind of stress on me. And I guess how she deals with it is she overcompensates and is just overly excited. It's too much. And I loved in that last part where she was coming in from being on the stage, how Harry just kind of just dropped her arm and walked off. He didn't wait for her. He was just like, okay, I'm done. I mean, it was a very quick second, but I thought that was very telling too.
Yeah, totally. And by the way, without wanting to be rude, P-Dina, he is quite literally losing his hair over it. If there was a hair transplant back in 2016, 2017, the stress has caused it all to go. One thing I picked up on that he is hating, is Meghan's new love of Instagram. You can see how quickly he turns the moment the camera is up in his face.
That right there says it all. She wasn't there for the veterans. She wasn't there for the cause. She was there for content. No. Even the sponsors, who normally wouldn't speak out, had enough. And that's why she was told to leave. So what happens next? Because folks, this feels like a turning point. 4 years, Meghan has had full control over Harry. She has isolated him from his family, pushed him into endless lawsuits, made him the poster child for victimhood. But now, for the first time, we are seeing cracks in the foundation. He doesn't look like a man who is deeply in love and committed to his wife. He looks like a man who is tired. And after this latest disaster, it's clear that Meghan's control is slipping.